is there a formula to this beyond the education part and the human part that you mentioned? Is there something unique that Indians bring to the table, in the global context, that is going to be the secret formula that's going to see a much larger number of leaders coming out in the next few years?
I'm tempted to say there is a formula, but it's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money to know that. But no, I don't think it's possible to put a formula to it. It's difficult. But if I were to look at some of the cases that Narayan and Latif spoke about, I mean, whether it was the Citibank CEO or Indra Nui from Pepsi, and Deepak Jain, and then so many people, Anjani Jain, Wharton, Harvard, Kellogg, all three institutions. I think it's a little of both. So in some sense, you could say that the glass ceiling has been breached, yes. Two, it's also the coming of age of Indian leaders on the international stage. But I think various factors. I mean, for instance, you could look at diversity. I mean, diversity is not necessarily just gender. We also talk about cultural diversity, and a lot of organizations, especially progressive organizations around the world and in India, are looking at being more accepting of other cultures. So something which was probably a restraining factor maybe 15, 18, 20 years back is no longer the case today. Now, coming to the formula question, I think if you were to look at some cases which have probably gone wrong, which means people with tremendous amount of potential, not just from India, but from different parts of the world who've gone to, say, the US or the UK, working at large MNCs there, if you were to look at a common factor why they've probably not succeeded, where someone like Nadella has succeeded so well, I would say it comes down to wanting to go to Rome and saying, I want to be, an Indian in Rome, or let's say an Asian in Rome, or a European, okay, you are a European if you're in Rome, but an American in Rome. So you cannot say, for instance, if Satya had said, okay, look, I'm an Indian and I want to be an Indian in the US, probably would not have made sense. So you can be Indian as far as your value system is concerned, as far as you as the individual is concerned. But when you are at the hem of affairs of a large organization, managing the fate of maybe a lakh of people, you cannot let where you come from dictate what you would do or the way you would do it. So let's take Satya's example again. What he probably gets to the table is a very strong value system, which comes from, where he is from. But he's also adapted. He's also adapted to the American way of doing things. So a healthy disrespect for things which are traditional, and a healthy disrespect for holy cows is the same. So, and that becomes innovation, right? Breaking of silos, cutting across silos ruthlessly, and that becomes collaborativeness. So, I think as long as a leader can blend the local element with what you need in the global market, that amount of adaptability is what would help. And in the absence of a formal formula, I think this is probably the best that you can do.